Well, hey guys, this is just a small video on replacing engine bolts. Mine snapped, two of them snapped actually. I was out in the paddock the other day and mowing like a madman for a couple of days, and I mean mad, because I was just full throttle, had the deck as high as I could because the grass, some of it's, 2 or 3 foot long. But this was doing really well. I was quite happy with everything. And then suddenly, maybe I overdid it, and I lost sort of my forward drive. I thought, oh, that's no good. Automatic, you think it's the clutches, the corks or something like that. I could sort of get, a bit of a traction reverse, so I reversed it back to the shed here, and I finally had a chance to look at it. And I got it out. Obviously, first thing is to attack the clutch area, so I took the seat off and got rid of all the dust, grit, dirt. I've got a gurney, not a gurney, a compressor to blow, crap off out of the mower. Anyway, I did all that, and I thought, okay, I don't see too much wrong. Let's start it and see if it moves forward now. Now I've moved a lot of the rubbish, all the rubbish that gets in there. That could have stopped it from moving over towards the forward disc. And I got it out, and it did move backwards and forwards. I wasn't sitting, I was just pushing the pedal. Big difference if you sit on it, in reality. But when I started it, I noticed the motor was rocking around. I thought, what's going on there? So I had a closer look and discovered the motor was sitting back against the petrol tank here, and then I noticed my bolts were broken. And I thought, that's no good, can't have that. So obviously I've broken 2 on this side and only had 1. Luckily 1 on one side stayed in, or the whole thing could have fell out or something. So while I was going 10 to the dozen. But anyway, next thing is replace the bolts. So I did ring some Greenfield businesses, and they just don't have these bolts anymore. If they did, they don't remember. So they just say go to a nut and bolt place to get bolts. So this is what I come up with, just to save your time. This is a UNC thread, and it's 5/16 width, which is correct to the old bolt. The only thing I didn't know was how long they were. Now, I thought, well, I'm going to run 2 flat washers and one, definitely going to run a spring washer, and you've got the nut as well. So I thought probably 1.75 inches, but on reflection now, I put one in, and I think it's a little bit long. I can still use them, but to be precise, I probably should have went for 1.5 inches, then 1.75 inches, that's all. So this down here, as you know, or don't know, that's the little wire for your ignition. So when you turn the engine off, the engine will cut off. If that wire is dropped down, you go to turn it off, the engine will not turn off, and that's the reason. That's got to slide in there and obviously be connected, or it just won't work. So that's just the engine bolt up the other way. Like, I'll put that in that way from below, so I can screw these wires to it. The rest of the bolts go through the block, down through the chassis like that, and screw them up, of course. Now, to get that engine to come forward, I had to take the belts off up underneath here, the drive pulley. So I took the cutter belt off, but the drive belt to the clutches, no. You've got to undo your clutch set up here. Obviously I took the battery out. I undid the big string here that goes up to this arm. So that takes some of the tension off, and then you can undo the tension just by releasing it here. And that'll drop back, and that'll take the tension off this belt. and then you can take it off at the drive pulley at the front under the motor by hand, and that's where I'm at. So obviously at the moment I'm going to put these bolts back in, tighten them up, and I'm going to reset this up. So bear with me. So all I just got to do is tighten that one up, and this is a new one through there, so I'm going to add a flat washer. Right, so I'll be doing that one up, and I've got this one over here. Put my shadow on there. I've got this one to tighten up. Can't see my finger. There we go. I've got to tighten this one up, and that's just the same bolt, but I put it in the other way. I put it from the bottom up so I can tighten it, the nut on this side and connect these wires. Okay guys, I've got the two bolts in. Now they're just half inch socket, and obviously I've got one going down and this one coming up, and I've tightened him up, and I've got our two wires going to it, which are now very secure, and I'm just going to check the other side to see if it needs any retensioning, and then we can get these belts back on and then retension the clutch belt. Okay guys, here we are under the mower. Hope you can see this. There's our drive belt. I've taken the cutter belt off, which we should be able to get back on. The drive belt has got to go up onto this top pulley here. Okay, I got that up. I got it up over here and up here, and I got it sitting in. Hope you can see that. Got it sitting in the V pulley at the top. This is all one unit, and now it's sitting up in there. That's where we want it, and we can retension it back at the clutches. That's the next job. I've got to put this on, and I can do it. Right. We're getting that. See how easy that is? That's on, see? Just do that by hand. Put it in the guides. It's in the guides. This guide here, and it's on the inside these two guides. It stops it from coming off. It's in these two guides. So we've got that cutter belt on, and we've got our drive one up here that we need to retension. Right, this one you don't have to take, you don't have to do anything, you just got to make sure your blades are engaged. You can pull it off by hand, that one. Okay, now we're going to retension the drive pulley, or the clutches, and to do that you just got to push it forward. This is on a little locking latch under here, so it will click into place. Hear that? Hear it click in. And that's done by this little lever here. So if I pull the lever out, it'll flick back. See that? That's how you undo them. I'll do it again. Hear it clicking? Okay, before you retension this here, you just got to check that all your belt is correctly on the pulleys underneath. Remember that some are on the back of the pulley and some are a V pulley, like here, V, but some of them run on the back of the pulley. You got two at the front, you got two here, about here, they run on the back. You got one very close to this side that runs V like this, and the outside runs on the back of the pulley. So check that that's all correct before you do this, or if you don't have to redo it. It's that simple. So I'm going to retension it, You can do it this way too. Hang on. So I'm going to retension it. So I got that pretty well. I'm just going to recheck that these belts haven't come off, just doing that little bit. Right, all looks good under there. So now we're just got to put our big spring back on. Grab multi grips. Now there's a tool for this. It's just a long rod for hook and a bit of V shape to pull your hand. Put these back on. I don't have one of them, so just use the mults. Make sure you put your brake on, because if you don't, these springs are that strong, you'll just keep pulling the mower towards you. Make sure it's locked. Nope, that's locked. Better bring this stack down. That's locked on the wheel. You can move these around to make it easier for you, this little section. Ooh. Right. About this lure, anything can go wrong does go wrong. Right. So that's in. I just turn it back underneath, like that. That keeps a nice bit of pressure on it. And that's done. Now, all I've got to do is put the battery back in. First thing we'll do is we'll start her up, eh? See the motor's sitting nice and pretty now. Not moving around at all. Okay, you see what I've done. I've used 5/16 bolts. That's a 1.3 inch. I've got that much left over. You can see that, so maybe 1.75 inches is good for that end, for the wire end. Maybe 1.5 inches for the others, but you only had 3. The one at the back on the other side's got nothing in it, and like I said, that's to give the engine some flex to the chassis, because we're not always mowing on a flat surface. You've got to redo the belts, take the belts off the drive pulley underneath the engine, and retension them at the back here, which I've showed you how to do. Hopefully that helps you in that regard. Happy mowing. Bye bye.